the slap wasn't scripted. And I'd said to Ewan before, I was like, do you mind if I slap you when I arrive? And he's like, yeah, maybe save it for the close. I was like, yeah, okay. Hello, I'm Tom Glencarney, and I'm going to be reacting to some of my most iconic House of the Dragon clips. Oh yeah.
I will tell you the truth. You were a terrible king. But worse than that, you are a terrible man.
Burn. Yeah, tough to hear. Like a dagger through the chest. I think he needed it though, especially hearing that from Larys, someone who's been pretty faithful to him up until that point. Yeah, he needed to hear that. And I think this was sort of like the hinge moment, the pivotal sort of shift that we see in Aegon this season, where he starts just considering how his decisions affect the people around him and their willingness to aid his ascension.
What have been some of your favourite burns in House of the Dragon?
Favourite burns? There was, I mean, it's cruel, but there was a moment in season 2 where as Aegon, find Aemond in the brothel, and he's naked, and I just cackle at him like a hyena, just laugh at him. And I just feel like when you're that vulnerable, naked, curled up in a ball, having your hair stroked, with your older brother cackling at you, and it's just it's the ultimate disrespect. So yeah, poor Aemond. I feel like he's been on the receiving end of a lot of them. Yeah. This is my first day at Leavesden Studios. Chaos. First day at the studios, hadn't shot anything on House of the Dragon at Leavesden at this point. It was a big setup. It was a massive piece that they had to put together. Claire Kilner did such a good job, the director, to get it all done. She was so efficient as well. Had hundreds of supporting artists there, and all these guys that were the soldiers with the swords that were chopping down as I was walking through the Bridge of Swords. We're all being screamed at by this old army officer who was, screaming at them, getting them to be tight. But it was great. It was a very powerful moment.
Fire from the sky! This is war! I declare war! I declare war!
Yeah, we only got one go at that. Obviously, I was breaking the model. And it was like, right, okay, we're just gonna plan this quite meticulously, because if you mess this up the first time, then we don't have another take. Yeah, it was quite choreographed in many ways. But then I was like, how choreographed can smashing up a model be? I just went for it in the end. But there's a bit where I put my foot through it and kind of stamped on it, and the whole thing just reared up. I was like, either that's gonna kill the shot or be great. It was pretty liberating. Paddy was fuming though, because he was the person that as Viserys put that whole thing together. And it was a bit of a full circle moment that we were just wiping the slate clean. Yeah, that day. I think that was maybe one of my first experiences on a dragon. No, it must have been actually. Yeah, it was. It's essentially like this big hydraulic lift that has like a saddle and a buck on it. It's called the buck, and it's like riding a buck in Bronco. So you're holding onto this, and they've got wind machines attached to this crane that you're on, and it sort of moves around like this and dips and rears up, and it's pretty cool. But also, because those wind machines are often not enough, they'll have two guys with leaf blowers beneath you, giving it beans underneath you. So yeah, thank God the helmet was on, because otherwise the wig would have gone and been stuck to the back wall. That was a pretty fun day. I enjoyed that. Oh, the f***ing cabbage leaves. Yeah, kind of erotic in a way. Yeah, those days bound up in the bed were a challenge in their own way. Having full body prosthetics, or at least half body prosthetics, is, well, a time consuming process, but also for the day ahead, to then stay in the zone and not be too I get quite claustrophobic. So that was a test. God knows how, you know, people like Jim Carrey did The Grinch, for example, when you're just head to toe in thick, heavy prosthetics. Yeah, that was enough for me. But I mean, I got to lie down all day, so can't really complain.
Do they secretly love each other?
Do Egon and Amos secretly love each other? No, I think they need each other. I don't think they love each other. Maybe it's like a really complex form of love. I love Ewan.
Yes.
Oh my God, I adore Ewan. And he loves me. Foul. Don't do it. He did it. That was a moment to be reminded to be humble. I think one of the most degrading moments. There was a few in this season, but that one was particularly gnarly. They put what looks like you'll be glad to know it was not It was like it was like mushed up chocolate and peanut butter and like dates and stuff. So it smelled like all the things I've just said, but my brain was like, do not put your face near that. That's disgusting. I mean, you could put the most delicious meal on a shoe and you're not gonna wanna eat it. But we did that a few too many times, I think. I was like, okay, guys, have we got this yet? Can we go one more for camera? I'm like, ugh.
Sono fare. 3 caras.
Damn it. Do you know, sadly, there were people in the forest that we were filming this scene who had recorded the entire scene. So the actual audio of this scene got leaked like kind of months after shooting it, weeks after shooting it. So like ages before the show was released. So people who were in the know kind of knew what happened, which was tragic. But luckily it didn't spread too far. But yeah, that was the kind of the rebirth, I guess, of Egon and the beginning of this new chapter. And you know, there's some theories that say that, you know, Egon screaming "Behold me now" and kind of stirring some fire from his sleep was the thing that kind of made him arrive, and they, you know, together, two halves make a whole. But it was a lot of fun, even though, you know, it was a tennis ball on a stick that I was shouting at. I tell a lie, on one of the days there was 2 amazing puppeteers holding this huge blue dragon head, so they could do all the special effects on it. The way they breathe would like look like the dragon, so that was pretty helpful. But I wasn't there on the day that they set everybody on fire. I'll be putting it in my contract next season. If I burn anyone, I want to watch.
You cannot be. You are dead. I'm alive!
Great. Yeah, that seems to be the thing that people are remembering this season, which is great. I'm glad people have responded well to it, and he's a character that you can kind of make choices like that, and they might seem insane on the day, but put into the sort of the bigger picture of who Egon is and sort of the character that we've established, you can make any kind of insane, bold choice, and somehow, some way, most of the time, it can work. The slap wasn't scripted, and I'd said to Ewan before, I was like, do you mind if I slap you when I arrive? And he's like, yeah, maybe save it for the close. I was like, yeah, okay. Because that would have been about 15 slaps that he got.
Did you try saying that line in like any of the, like,
Yeah,
did you
yeah. So that was the first take, and then they wanted some safer options, which I'm always like, I'm only going to use the safe one. But the director, Andre, and showrunner Ryan were both like, yeah, we think it's that first take. I mean, you can play that scene in a million different ways. And it was my job that day to pick the ones that I felt could be the most sort of interesting and raise the stakes as much as possible. And especially with, you know, when Alice Rivers makes her entrance and there's that whole kind of threesome dynamic going on. I just feel it's really important in shows like this to bring the personality of the character through, rather than being steered by the tone of the world, you know, which I think sometimes you can be victim to. having the vehicle be steered by the tongue rather than you being the driving force of it. So it's nice to sort of like have that tug of war, that little like kind of contradiction to what it could sort of usually be stereotypically. Thanks for watching some of my iconic moments in House of the Dragon. It's available to watch at home now.